welcome to the last edition of our MHQ SFO mini-series, where I'm joined yet again by Kat Zagati. Kat, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me again.
So what are we going to talk about today as we wrap up this series?
Yes. So as you recall, Jan, in our last webcast, we discussed the blue chipper type of SFOs in ADGM and also in the DIFC. So my question to you today is, what are the differences between them?
So as you mentioned, we, as a firm, tend to gravitate towards the ADGM and the DIFC, the two common law centers of the UAE, whenever we structure optimize, create a sophisticated proprietary investment structure or a slightly more comprehensive single family offices. And really, there are objective reasons for that. There is more sophistication in these centers, more credibility and market recognition, particularly when you talk with counterparty or financial institutions. They are, we think, more reliable. The quality of the legal framework, common law regulations, common law court, much more sophisticated. And time of incorporation, surprisingly, and ease of setting up these structures often faster and easier because everything is digital. So whenever we talk single family office in the UAE today, we think the two financial free zone are one, if not two, steps ahead.
That's good. So let's talk about the differences. Tell me.
Yeah, so lots of similarities as we have seen, but yet some differences. So let's pick two here. So one is the minimum investment criteria. So in the DIFC, it is 50 million, but 50 million of net asset value. This means it needs not necessarily to be liquid asset. It can be real estate, it can overseeing a collection of art, can be some fancy toys like a boat, pretty much anything that floats your boat. No pun intended. In the ADGM, on the other hand, it's $10 million, but liquid asset value. In other words, it has a slightly more traditional proprietary investment definition than the one of the DIFC, which is probably more focused on management. But either way, this is quite a low criteria at an international level because other jurisdictions in tier one often have a higher threshold. Now, another difference is the permanent presence element. Now, all this will also depend on corporate tax impact, but generally the DIFC is able to exempt a family that can demonstrate that it has secured offices somewhere else in the jurisdiction to have offices in the DIFC. So take a family that already has substantial presence in mainland or in another free zone. It does not necessarily need to have a full staffed single family office in the DIFC, but it can take advantage of the infrastructure of the DIFC. Currently, in the ADGM, a single family office operating there has to have a physical presence in the center.
Okay, so can I ask you to elaborate a bit on privacy? Because it used to be a difference between both centers, but it's not anymore, right? So if you can elaborate on that.
That's it. We actually had to change our fact sheet on these aspects because that used to be a difference. There used to be ADGM very specifically with its restricted scope company regime enable qualifying applicants not to have their data in the public domain. But lo and behold, when something is game-changing and appealing to the public, particularly to sophisticated families, often the two centers are aligned, and the DIFC has now introduced with success a private registry available to qualifying applicant as well. So both centers now have this privacy regime enabling people to opt in or out of having their data in the public domain, which we think is quite powerful and appealing.
Okay, clear. So got it. So the main two differences we need to keep in mind here are one, minimum investment criteria of 50 million net asset value for the DIFC SFOs versus 10 million liquid asset value for ADGM SFOs. And two, the advantage of not needing a physical office in the DIFC for DIFC SFOs in case the family has already a large presence in the UAE, right?
Absolutely. This would be the two differences, but one, and perhaps the core one, is it's not only about the core elements, it's also about personal preferences. So presumably someone that lives in Abu Dhabi will have preference for Abu Dhabi, and someone that lives in Dubai will prefer Dubai. This is a model that we see particularly with domestic and regional families.
Okay, all right. So thanks for your answer today, Jan. And again, as I mentioned in our previous webcast, we do have a comprehensive fact sheet on this topic describing all the options of SFOs available here in the UAE, and we are happy to share that with qualifying applicants. Thanks again, Jan.
Very good. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.